All right, three, two, one, and we are live. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to the Ummahpreneur Live podcast, where I interview high-level Muslim entrepreneurs at the top of their game to bring you business, lifestyle, mindset, and entrepreneurship tips from an Islamic perspective. And today, I have with me none other than Sister Khaoula Abtouche. Assalamu alaikum, Khaoula. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you and to kind of share with you guys a little bit about our guest today. Khaoula is the founder of Dignitii, and Dignitii is an activewear brand. They're based in Canada, and they design and produce innovative, modest sportswear. They use fabrics with the latest technology to produce beautiful activewear, and they really focus on optimizing performance and catering to women that choose to dress modestly, whether they're Muslim or not. And they provide them an alternative to the general fitness wear industry, which is all about skin tight leggings and things that us as Muslims don't feel comfortable wearing. So I'm really excited to dive into how you created this, Khaoula, your journey as an entrepreneur, and how this brand became what it is today, inshallah, with the guests. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm super excited to start.
My pleasure. Me too.
Bismillah. And we start off every single podcast by having the guests share their story. We want to get to know you a little bit more. So can you tell us a little bit about the journey that you went through that inspired you to create Dignitii in the first place? Why you chose to create this brand?
Yes. It's quite a journey, actually. So my first business actually was not Dignitii. It was actually a different business. And I started at 20 years old. So basically, I was never interested in business, to be honest. I always wanted to be either a doctor or a psychologist. That was always my plan. So I decided to, I started my university. I was doing psychology, and my mom, basically she was a seamstress, and she was doing some skirts and abayas, and she wanted to sell it to her community, but she had a hard time marketing it. So because I love my mom, I was like, I'm going to help you. So I built a website for her. I learned how to market, to do an Instagram, all that. But for me, it was just to help my mom. But while doing that, I started having this spark inside of me about entrepreneurship. I really loved it. And I found that I had like a natural skill towards it. But still, I didn't really consider opening something on my own at all. I was doing, when I finished my degree, I started working in a full-time job, a 9-to-5, very good pay, very happy with my colleagues and boss. But the 9-to-5 life, I did not like it at all. So I would wake up at 7 and would come back at home at 7 p.m. And then I would be so drained from the day that I wouldn't be able to do anything after that. I would just like stay on the couch with my husband, we watch a movie, and then that's it. The day starts again, And I really was feeling unfulfilled, really unfulfilled. And I started thinking about business. I'm like, I actually really like business. So what am I going to do? So I just started saving my money. So whatever I got from my pay, I would save it. Alhamdulillah, I'm married, so my husband was able to support us. So I would save. And then basically during my 9-to-5 job, it was a very stressful job. So I started feeling very lethargic, like loss of energy. I didn't even have the energy or the time to cook that much. So I would, during lunch, I would go to the cafeteria close to my job and I would just buy junk food there. So I started really feeling unhealthy, and I decided that I was going to join a gym. But since I was working all day, there was no real time to go there. So I started going to the gym close to my work during the lunchtime. Right. So my work is in downtown Montreal. There's so many people, and that gym is legit downtown, and it was full of guys, mostly guys, and there was literally no hijabi. So I was the only one. I hired a nutritionist and I hired a fitness trainer, a personal trainer. So I started learning a lot about fitness and health. But every time I would go, I feel so uncomfortable. I didn't have anything to wear that was like very performing. I would just wear like a regular cotton tunic, and I would get super, super hot whenever I would train. Most of the time I would stop my session in the middle because I was too hot. My hijab would suffocate me. I was wearing like a jersey hijab. I probably don't know what it is, but the girls will understand. It's the most comfortable hijab you can find, and it was really hot. And every time I would do a squat or something like that, I would feel like uncomfortable because the tunic was not made for movement, so it would hug my curves. So I was really uncomfortable. So I started looking into modest activewear. Like I just wanted to buy for myself, and I was very disappointed with what was on the market. So that was back in 2017. There was some modest activewear brand, but they were of low quality. Most of them, I actually bought all of them. They were low quality. The design was not very stylish, was not very suiting for my style. Like I like simple things, modern things. And most of them were like overseas, and like they had some weird designs. So I felt like there was a real gap in the market. And that's where the light bulb came on, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to solve this issue because I'm sure it's not just me. I'm sure other Muslim women are struggling with that. So I asked around. My friend, my sister was also involved in fitness, and she's like, yeah, I struggle too. Like, it's really hard to find good sportswear. Most of the women, what they do is they go into this like regular stores, and let's say Nike, and they go into the men's section to buy extra large top from the men's section to wear. Yeah, that's how I got the idea. And since I already had a little background in fashion, it was kind of easy for me to design because I already learned that when I was helping my mom. And alhamdulillah, I was smart enough to save money. So I was able to start on the right track. Yeah, that's how Dignitii started.
That's amazing, mashallah. So through this whole journey, I mean, it starts like every great business idea starts, which is you had a problem and you thought to yourself, do other people experience the same problem? And you reached out and you did some market research, right? You asked other people, you found out, do they struggle with the same thing that you struggle with? And they answered yes. And so you figured, why is there no solution out there? Let me create one. And that's usually how the best business ideas come about. And you started designing this yourself. So if I understand correctly, you are the one who designed all the products that you guys sell right now.
Yes. So basically, I'm the one who who do the drawings. I don't do the design in terms of pattern making. I actually hire designers to do the pattern because it requires a lot of kind of skill and knowledge and training in that. But I design the look and the kind of the innovative piece of it. It's me. Right. And then I go through designers who make the patterns, and then we make several samples, we test it, and then when we found out, like when we finalize everything, then we have a product ready to launch.
Okay. And when you decided to do this, Khaoula, were you still working at that time, or did you decide already, at the very beginning that you wanted to quit and you wanted to focus on this business full time? So when did you transition to entrepreneurship fully?
So I stayed, no, I didn't quit right away because that would be foolish, because I knew from my first business with my mom, I knew that in order to have a successful business, you actually need money. Like you need investment into marketing. Influencers are really expensive. And even bulk, if you want to do it like into a factory and you want to do bulk production, you need, a big chunk of money because their minimums are not usually low. So I know I wanted to support my business through my work. And so I actually stayed for 2 years. And then, alhamdulillah, Allah really blessed me with a great opportunity, which was I got pregnant, and I got, basically, I was able to stay home for 2 years,
right.
A year and a half at home while being paid. So that was great, alhamdulillah. So I took that advantage to work full time into my business, and while being supported by my full time job. So yeah, that was great. After that, I didn't go back to work.
Right. So it was a great opportunity, mashallah. So you had the maternity leave, and then that gave you the space to focus on this project.
Yes.
And to grow it. That's amazing. And then what was the point? Do you remember the moment where you decided, you know what, I'm not going back, I'm going to focus on this full time? What was that moment like? Did something happen? Was it due to a specific event?
I actually always knew. I always knew that I wasn't going to go back, because so basically when I first started exploring entrepreneurship, and that was because of my 9 to 5, and I really didn't like 9 to 5s. I was thinking back then to go back to school, like do my graduate school and everything. But I'm like, inshallah, one day I'll have kids, and I don't want to be that absent in the home. So for sure, I want to be like an entrepreneur. So once I got pregnant, I had my son, alhamdulillah, like I knew that I wasn't gonna go back. Like I wanted to be there for him if he's sick. I wanted to own my own time, and if I wanted to send him to daycare, I can. If I don't want, I can. So I knew from the beginning that I wanted that lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's amazing, mashallah. So now you knew this, and when did you officially start, launching the product? So when did you actually go from designing it to trying to sell the product? How long did that phase take between designing and selling the product?
Yeah. So I got the idea of the business in 2017, in May 2017, I remember. And I launched it. I launched the business October 31st, 2018. So about a year and a half of product development. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
so it's still a lengthy time. You really and why do you feel like it took so much time to develop it? Is it because you're creating something from scratch versus getting a manufacturer to just resell a product? Is that why it took so long?
Yeah, that's one part of it for sure. It took a long time. So I worked with real designers. They were in the States, in LA. So I'm here. So every time, we need to communicate through online, and then I would send them my drawings, and then they would ship me the samples, and then I would modify it, and then ship back. Like there's a lot of back and forth.
Right.
And once the design was finalized, there was also like looking into a bulk production. So bulk production is another factor, like another manufacturer. It's a manufacturer on its own, and I had to find the right one. There was like, it's really hard to find a good manufacturer, especially for me. Like I only choose manufacturers that are ethical in how they deal with their employees and they pay well. So I needed to do that research. And then also like building the website, I did everything on my own, by the way. I did the website on my own. I did a lot of learning. So then when I launched, I was ready. And I launched on a pre-order basis. I didn't launch right away. Like people, so basically why that happened is because I spent a lot of money in product development and I didn't have enough to cover the full bulk production. So usually bulk production is like 300 pieces per style. So that's like a big chunk of money. So I decided to fund it through pre-orders, basically. And it took us 5 months of pre-orders to be able to produce and ship.
Wow. Okay. And how did you, if you don't mind me asking, how did you go about, promoting those first initial pre-orders, essentially getting them? Is it just through or Instagram? Did you guys focus on advertising at all? Was it word of mouth? What was your strategy?
Yeah, it was actually very organic, alhamdulillah. I think it's because the nature of my product is very unique, and people were like, it was very kind of innovative. So people started sharing, So yeah, I basically contacted a few of my friends online who had like a bigger following, and I did lives with them. I introduced my brand. It was very organic. It was through Instagram mostly. And a lot of shares. People were very happy to see a product like that being launched, and they wanted to support. So alhamdulillah, yeah. But it was slow though. Don't get me wrong. It was slow because obviously if we had the budget for basically Facebook ads and paying big huge influencers, like that would have helped for sure. But I didn't have the budget, and I was like, it's okay. If it's slow, it's slow. I'm just gonna start.
Right. And I think, starting from scratch, no matter what, I think every time we set goals in business, we're optimistic about it, but it's always harder than we expect. And my question to you is, when you were launching this product, I'm sure you had a vision about how the process would go when it came to designing and then selling the product, growing the brand. But of course, as you go through this journey, as entrepreneurs, we face certain challenges, certain, roadblocks that we don't expect. What's a big challenge that you can recall maybe that you had to overcome when it came to launching Dignitii, and how did you overcome it? Is there something that you can recall that you can share with us?
So the first thing is what I just talked about. It was funding. I didn't expect bulk production to be that expensive, and it's not just bulk production, but also just like expenses, like daily expenses or like monthly expenses of a business. It's a lot of things. So like the website, the marketing, the photo shoot, the models, like everything costs obviously. So I had exhausted like all my savings into launching the business, but I didn't have enough for the bulk production. And so alhamdulillah, I thought of the idea of pre-orders. And I'm very, very lucky and blessed to have people who have supported me. Like they didn't get a product for 5 months and they still, trusted. So alhamdulillah, yeah, it's a lot of dua, trusting in you. I trust a lot into I have a lot of trust in my product. So I know that I'm delivering something quality and people will like it. So people can feel that when you talk about your products. So yeah, that was the first challenge. The second one was, I actually didn't think that, I thought that a lot of Muslims were into fitness, but so basically through my maybe 2 years right now, I figured out that like Muslim women, they like to be active, they want to be active, but then there's a lot of roadblocks, sometimes a lot of mindset blocks. So I needed to address those, and I continuously do so in my social media and through my email. Like I have to always like address the blocks that a lot of sisters have when it comes to being active, and also the need. I needed to educate them about the need of having proper and performing modest sportswear, and not just like throwing a shirt that you have, or going to the men's section and getting a shirt. Right. And alhamdulillah, like my customers, they write back to me and they're like, oh my God, it is true. It is game changing. And I feel like I'm motivated to work out because I have something I can throw on and I know I look good, I'm modest, and I'm not going to feel sweaty. So it's something that I'm doing continuously, is educating about the need of modest sportswear, proper one.
Right. So not only do you're kind of in a position where not only are you selling this product, but you found yourself in a position where now you have to almost, encourage, Muslim women or women who seek modest wear to re-embrace fitness. Yeah. And it's almost like recreating that. How do you go about this? Is there a certain strategy that you employ in your branding or in your marketing?
Not at all, actually. I love that. Actually, I love that. I like, even in my university years, I was doing halakas. Like I was always very active in the community, and I loved like motivating like my sisters and talking about the deen and talking about like being confident and fulfilling your purpose in life. So for me, it's something that comes very naturally to me. So I actually love that component because it gives it life, it gives it a soul. It's not just a product, So I know that I'm making an impact in people's lives. So I do that through my stories on Instagram. I'm hoping, inshallah, this year to focus more on that, and because that creates a community. When you talk to them face to face, and they see the owner of the brand, they kind of become your friends. Your customers become your friends, and they trust you more, and they would rather buy from you than from anybody else because they love you, they trust you, and you're there for them. So I love doing that. I think honestly, like if anybody has like a brand and can personally connect with their customers, I would highly recommend it.
I completely agree, because I think now people connect with people. They don't connect with brands anymore because there are so many brands out there that it's like, we kind of crave that human interaction again, right? Yeah. And I noticed very much that when I went on your Instagram, that you are very much present on the Instagram, right? There's posts with yourself, you talk about yourself, you're communicating with the audience, and that's really huge in terms of actually, building that connection, nurturing it. They know who's behind the movement.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because for you guys as well, as you mentioned, I think it's such a great idea you have this opportunity to build these communities for fitness, for Muslim women. You even have the opportunity, I'm not sure if you've done it before, considered it, but even to sponsor events that are related to fitness, or maybe catered to Muslim women. Is it something that you've done before?
Yeah. So we've been part recently of the Modest Fitness Week. It's a sister who started it. So it was in December, and it was amazing. It was a whole week of fitness classes, live, and it was the goal was to kind of motivate Muslim women to just start their fitness journey, and it was really amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing, mashallah. Yeah, so that's beautiful. There is so much opportunity there, and it's almost like, okay, we wanted to create a product, but now we have to create a movement. And it's much bigger than that, right?
Definitely.
That's amazing. So let me ask you, what's in store for the future of Dignitii? What do you guys have planned for 2021? What can people expect from you guys in the future that you're working on?
Yeah, so there's two big projects I'm working on. The first one is athleisure wear. So because from my 2 years in business, I noticed that a lot of women, especially moms, they want to work out, but they don't. And so basically how I wanted to market to them is basically I'm creating a piece that is good for workouts, but also good for everyday wear, where let's say if they go to the park with their kids, they can wear. they can wear that top and they will feel comfortable. They will look good. It won't look too sporty, but it's going to be breathable, antibacterial. It's going to be, allow them to do a full range of movement. I've experienced it myself when I go out with my son to the park. I love to run with him and feel free, but at the same time, I want to preserve my modesty. So I want to create those pieces. I already started creating 2, inshallah. They'll be launching this year. So that's the first part, is athleisure wear. The second part is actually a huge project I wanted to do since the beginning, but I didn't have the funds. But now, inshallah, I'm going to tackle it. And it's swimwear.
Oh, amazing.
So there's actually a huge gap in modest swimwear. There's a lot of brands, but I feel like something is missing. So there's maybe like 2 or 3 brands that actually have decent sport swimwear that look good. But the huge criticism of them is that they're not modest enough. They're very tight. So I wanted to create something that looks good. So the sisters can feel very comfortable in it, very confident in it, but at the same time keep my core values, which is technology and innovation in the design. So I'm working on that as well this year.
That's amazing, mashallah. And we actually had Sister Ala Al-Ghazuli, who's actually in the comments right now. She was just saying yes. And she's actually a swimming coach, and she's very active in the swimming industry. Yeah, that's awesome. And she was on this podcast. She's actually part of our Ummahpreneur community. And we had a huge discussion about that, about the lack of, swimwear for Muslim women. And so I think it's definitely a gap that needs to be filled. And I can't think of a better brand to fill it than you guys, because you guys are already doing, the sportswear on land. So now it's time to dive to sea. Let's do this, right? That's awesome, mashallah. So Khaoula, let's transition a little bit. We know we have so much beautiful information on Dignitii. I want to transition to a bit of questions that relate to you as an entrepreneur and entrepreneurship in general. And I want to ask you, going through this journey of building Dignitii to where it is today, and of course, we understand that this is just the beginning and there's more to come. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned as an entrepreneur, or what are maybe the discoveries that you've made about yourself that entrepreneurship has allowed you to make, that another profession wouldn't have necessarily maybe allowed you to achieve or to realize? Okay. And you can take your time. I know it's a tough question.
So something I discovered about myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, yes, I will. So basically, why I love entrepreneurship so much, and I really advocate about it, it's because it forces you to literally look at yourself and fix your flaws. Because you are the CEO of your business. If you are lazy, if you are not on time, if you are not disciplined, well, your business is gonna crash. You are the one who directs your business. So I discovered sometimes I'm not disciplined enough. Sometimes I don't know, I procrastinate, so I needed to do a lot of self-development. I've been reading so many books. It was improving myself mentally, physically, spiritually, in terms of my discipline. So especially now that I'm a mom, mashallah, my son is 2 years old now, very active. So I need to manage my time very well to be able to work effectively and take care of him and take care of the house. So it's, I discovered how much, kind of some of my flaws that I needed to work on. And I'm so grateful about that, because it's making me a better person in general. Right now I have 3 memberships, they're business memberships. So I learned so much about business, but I also have memberships about parenting. I have a membership where I learn about the deen, spirituality. So I try to fix myself in every single way, and actually started yesterday a program called Emotional Intelligence. So it works on your on your brain and how you can take control of where your thoughts are. So I can focus more. So I'm always improving myself, and I see the impact directly in my business. The ideas that I have, the way I conduct my business, the decisions that I make are always better when I work on myself.
That's completely true. And that's actually, I couldn't think of a better statement and a better answer to this, because ultimately as an entrepreneur, especially when you're starting and you don't necessarily have a huge team and it's not, a company of 500 people, your business is a reflection of you. And as you mentioned, really your business relies upon your ideas and your ability to innovate and actually work on it. And if you don't work on your business, well, it's not like a job where you still get a paycheck at the end of 2 weeks. it directly reflects in your income and in your business growth. So, I mean, that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, and it's also the biggest challenge of entrepreneurship, I think.
Yes, it's true.
Right? Like a lot of people, they become entrepreneurs and they think, I want to start a business and I'm interested in this, but it's a fleeting passion, and they don't realize just how much work it takes on themselves to be able to grow as a person, to be able to, be disciplined and, pursue self-development in a way where you are able to have these new ideas that allow you to push barriers, innovate, grow the business. So, I mean, mashallah, I couldn't agree more on that. And I want to ask you, if you were to just recommend here, if someone was saying, I want to be an entrepreneur and I'm thinking of starting my own product, my own brand. And if we're not even talking about e-commerce tips, but if we're talking about entrepreneurship, what would be the 3 main qualities that they need to have that would allow them to succeed or increase their chances of success? If you had to share with them 3 qualities. Yeah.
So qualities of themselves, you mean?
Mm-hmm. So qualities in a person that allow them to be a better business owner, and allow them to be a better entrepreneur.
So the first one I have in mind, it's not really quality, but like, I want you to be passionate. Why I think that is because business is very challenging. Like, it's the most challenging thing, like way more than working a 9 to 5, I said, because you're the one who makes the moves in your business. You're the ones who are going to bring income. So it's very challenging, and you're gonna encounter a lot of challenges coming your way, and I still do every day. And if you're not passionate enough about your why, like why you're doing what you're doing, why you're starting this clothing brand or this product brand, like why, if you're not personally connected to it, then you might give up. So I think that's a huge thing to have. Like, you need to stop and think about your business idea and say, why do I want to pursue this specific business idea? And see if you have that passion for it. For me, my biggest passion is not just like the clothing. Actually, it's really the impact I have on my sisters, basically, on the Muslim community. Like, I know I can have a huge impact towards them, and especially that I'm very much like, I speak a lot, and I create a tight-knit community. A lot of girls look up to me, and for me, it's like, again, I have so much passion for that. Like, I know that I'm making an impact in the world, and that's what pushes me, even when sometimes I just want to give up. This year, 2020 was really hard. Like, I've encountered a lot of challenges, especially within the manufacturer side. I lost a lot of money, and like, I could have just stopped, like, it's a lot easier to stop. So if you don't have that strong why behind you, it'll be hard to continue.
Right. Yeah. Totally. So that's the first one. And I agree with that, because I think in those moments where, as you mentioned, like, it gets so hard that you feel like you want to give up, you feel like, why am I doing this? Because a lot of times it is hard. Like, to be honest, and I always say this to the people that I know, is that you have to be there's a certain level of masochism in entrepreneurship. And what that term means as a masochist, it means someone who enjoys pain. Like, there's a certain level of being able to tolerate pain and endure it to be able to survive entrepreneurship. Because it's painful. Entrepreneurship is painful. Growing a business is painful. It's not easy. And if you don't have that passion behind it, if you don't understand why you're going through this, then you'll be like, you know what? Well, the pain's not worth it. I'd rather just be comfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are 2 more that you can give us?
Okay. Okay, let's see. Maybe like delayed gratification, being able to, maybe it's very related to this one, but like, being able to kind of accept delayed gratification, like,
yes,
it's very important, because anything else, I feel like in business, you can develop business skills. Like, I didn't have business skills before, I just learned and developed them. But something that you need to have is like, you're okay with delayed gratification, like waiting for the point where you can pay yourself, waiting for saving money so that later on you invest. So I think that's really, really important. If you want results fast, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
This is the truth. Nobody, like, I don't believe in like overnight successes. Like, it takes time, and I don't believe that Dignitii is a success yet. Like, we're just a startup where it's been 2 years. We're growing slowly, but alhamdulillah, growing, and I'm learning every day. And there might be a point where, inshallah, like, it's gonna be super big, but I don't know about that. But I know that my why is strong enough, and I will continue to work towards it. And it's okay if the outcome will be much further. I don't know when I'm going to make it, but yeah. So I think it's a very important trait or kind of belief to have as an entrepreneur.
I completely agree, and I think it's something that we have to train in ourselves as well, because when we, when everything around us is, instant gratification, especially in our time today, where you could really just turn on your phone, you could order food instantly, you could have the most delicious thing in front of you in a matter of minutes. Everything we want is instant, it's fast, it's right now. It's that much harder to train that ability to train yourself for delayed gratification, and training yourself to be able to delay gratification, whether it's through, instead of doing instant gratification activities like, watching TV, playing games, or things that really just trigger our dopamine level without much effort. If you do things like reading, do things like working out, working on your business, and you practice doing these things more, then you train that ability a little bit more as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's so important, because I think even for entrepreneurs, things like reading, like working out, I always tell my students they're important, not just for, the result of being healthier, for the result of increasing your knowledge, but to train yourself to do these activities that are not fun necessarily, right? That are not necessarily, triggering your dopamine levels immediately, but they'll reward you in the end, right? They're beneficial for you.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Okay, my last thing
Awesome.
quality that an entrepreneur needs, I think this one you can develop it, and it's discipline. I struggle with it. I still struggle with it, and you need discipline. Like you have to make your own schedule. You need to create your own tasks. So if you're not disciplined enough to actually follow through what you said you're gonna do, then it's just gonna be really hard to get things done. Sometimes, like you said, the tasks are boring. Like I hate accounting. Like there's things that I really don't like, but I have to do them. I have to learn them. So discipline is a huge one. I think in any success, like in any field, you need discipline. So yeah.
100%. The ability to do the work, even if you don't feel like it. That's really what discipline is about. That's what it's about, 100%. So Khaoula, we're going to dive soon into some audience questions. But inshallah, before we do that, I want to ask you just a few more. And one of them is, if someone's thinking of starting their own e-commerce, their own product line, is there some advice that we can give them based on the journey that you went through, the experiences that you now have? Is there some advice they can give them for someone who's thinking, I might want to start my own product line? What's some advice that we can share with them?
Yeah, the first thing, do your market research. It's really important. Like sometimes you think that this product is really needed, but it's not. So you need to do your product research, market research. So go on different websites, see who your competitors are, see how well they're doing, ask people around, like make sure that this is a product that is needed and that you're filling a gap, like that you're actually like solving a problem rather than just reproducing what other brands are doing. That won't work. Like it's important that you really find like a gap, or even like improving a certain product that already exists, but so you're providing a solution so that you can distinguish yourself, not just copy. Like I've seen some people even trying to copy our exact designs, and like you can see it like it's a copy, like it's not ours, and like you can see it in their mission statement, like it's very weak, like because it's not personal to them, they're just trying to make money, like, oh, this Dignitii is successful, and you just copy it, so it will always happen. That's fine, but like if you really want to succeed, like I would say, don't copy other people. You can get inspired for sure, but try to distinguish yourself through your products and through your mission, through everything that you do. I believe like you should really try to be unique, try to solve an issue.
100%. I completely agree. And I think it's really a toxic mindset, because a lot of, and I would say this almost every episode, but we have sometimes some coaches even and some mentors that will tell their students, that will tell people, in courses, like just find someone who's successful and copy them. And that's really the thing that I hate the most. And you mentioned yourself, you can get inspired. And I mean, I tell all of my students, like, do the market research. You need to do market research. If you don't do it, then you're making a big mistake. Do the market research, but then create something that is unique to you. Create something that is your own. You can get inspired. You can see what other people are doing that are successful, but now it's time to go and have your own way of doing things. And as you mentioned, when you copy others just for the sake of copying, it never really is yours. It never feels like it's yours, and you're not going to be able to push through those hard times when they come because your why is not strong enough.
Exactly. And honestly, like the customers, they see it. If you're a copy of another brand, they see it. Like I'm sure you know the brand Haute Hijab.
I'm not. Oh, yes. It was Melanie Al-Turk, I believe. Yeah.
She's great, mashallah. She's very passionate what she does. I love her. And there are other, so she kind of created these magnets, hijab magnets. So hijab magnets exist already, but like she really, mashallah, like made them really nice and modern, and she was the first one to launch them. And then there's a bunch of other brands who kind of copied that idea exactly. And then I saw comments like on the competitors, the people who copy, like they're like, oh my god, why did you steal this idea from Haute Hijab? Because people are so attached to that brand, like they kind of want to protect that brand. Like, so it's like you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not innovative. Like, you can improve on a product, that's fine, but don't just blindly copy. People see it, and you're always going to be a step behind if you do that. You're always going to be like not the original.
100%. I mean, I think especially for e-commerce now, like there's a big culture of drop shipping and just start an Amazon store and takes another product that's doing well and post the same product. And I always tell people like that doesn't work. But I mean, what do you think about that? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, like I know, like my husband is involved in Amazon and stuff like that. Like even them, like they have to like improve on a product, like not just put the same one, because the product who has the most reviews will win. Like, but if yours is a little bit different and it gives more value, then you will have your own market, like a customer base. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
Awesome. That's beautiful. So I'm going to ask you one last question, then we'll dive into the audience Q&A, guys. We already got some questions coming in. So if you have any questions for Khaoula or Dignitii, then make sure to drop them in the comments. We'll answer them, whether it's for her as an entrepreneur or about her brand, about growing a product line, growing Dignitii, the future of Dignitii. Any question in regards to that, drop it in the comments, inshallah. Before we do, there's a question that I ask every single guest, and I'll ask it for you as well. And it's, if you could meet Khaoula from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, who wasn't an entrepreneur just yet, right? She was still not sure about entrepreneurship. She was helping her mom. She was still thinking, should I be a doctor? Or I believe what you said, a psychologist, right? Exactly. So, and you could tell her one thing.
Yeah.
You could tell her one thing to kind of encourage her, to drive her, something that she could keep in mind, she could hold on to. What would that be?
I would say trust your gut. Really, like, I feel like sometimes whenever I don't trust my gut and I listen to other people's opinions, it always like leads me to not the right path. Like, subhanAllah, like I feel like sometimes like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like He inspires us with these ideas. Like He wanted me to take on this mission, Right. And He gives us these ideas, and sometimes you second guess yourself because shaitan or like self-doubt, and honestly don't. Like, there's one thing that I regret not doing because I second guess myself, and it's like I wanted to do YouTube really early on in my business so I can kind of document the journey. And like now 2 years in, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, it would have been so helpful for so many people. So yeah, don't second guess yourself. If you feel like you kind of have a calling and you have an idea, just go with it.
Awesome. Love it, mashallah. I love that. Trust your gut. So I love to ask that question because it's always little tidbits of gold, little golden nuggets that we can share with the audience. So I appreciate you answering that as well. We'll dive into a few audience questions if that's okay with you. Are you ready to do this?
Yes.
Awesome. So we got a few that are coming in, inshallah. And again, guys, there's still room for more. So if you want to drop your questions, do it in the comments. So we got 2 here from Sister Ray. And the first one is, how many designs did you have to go through before settling on the final one, especially the performance tech top, which I find amazing? So let's go do that one first.
Yeah, so basically I started kind of drawing. I think I did like 5 different types of tops, and then I don't know, I trusted my gut and I went with the one I thought would be the most universal and the one that most customers would like, and the one that was the most different that was on the market. And then I went on with it. It required a little bit of sampling, like a few different samples for the designer to actually understand, because these designers are not Muslims. And when I told them it has to be long, it has to be like, they didn't get it at first, but it had, a lot of back and forth. And then alhamdulillah, we settled on that. And then there was also the kind of fabric testing. I really tried to get the highest quality fabrics. I'm not gonna lie, like our fabric is equal or better than Lululemon fabric. So
Awesome.
It is an expensive fabric, but I did not want to compromise on quality because I knew that like in the market, there's a lot of low quality, cheap activewear.
Right.
So for the people who actually want high quality, there's nothing for them. So that's where I come in. So I had to test fabric a lot until I found the right fabric sourcer, and I went on with it. Alhamdulillah.
That's awesome. And it took you, as you mentioned, it was like almost a year and a half of product design, right, before you launched.
And I had to learn a lot about like sportswear technologies, because sportswear is a very different ballgame than like regular fashion clothing.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. We got one more from the same user, and it's, when can we expect the swimwear line? Very excited for this type of product because the market is quite lacking. So do you have any estimated date for the release, or is it just right now still being planned?
Okay, so swimwear, I don't have a date. We're still designing, so there's still a lot of back and forth. I don't know when we're going to be like, okay, this is the one. But I would like it, inshallah, to be ready for like end of April, beginning of May, because I know this is the time where people buy their swimwear, and usually swimwear is an expensive item because it has 3 parts and stuff. So I want to be one of the first ones to release so that people didn't buy their swimwear yet. So April, May, inshallah, for swimwear. For the one of the designs for the athleisure wear, which is going to be a jacket, I can already tell you. It's beautiful. You're going to love it, inshallah. And it's the design is ready. We're just like looking through fabrics and stuff like that. So like making the campaign for that takes a bit of time. So I would say like March for the athleisure, inshallah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. We got a few more questions. There's one here from another sister, and she says, I love that you have your own resistance band that is branded. She's like, I was looking at your website yesterday. She was like, how did you get your own resistance band, if it's okay to ask? So I'm not sure if that's a manufacturing or design question, but I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, I can answer that. It's actually very simple. So I did those to kind of, in Ramadan of last year, I wanted to give a bundle to my customers if they bought the 3 products together, and I gave them a free resistance band. Awesome. I didn't think of it as a, like, oh, I'm going to make money from it. But inshallah, like maybe next year we'll do a lot more accessories, but it's actually very simple. I'll tell you exactly what I did. You go to Khaoula.com, you write the resistance bands, customized, and then you speak to a bunch of manufacturers there, and then you give them your logo, and they print it, and they ship it to you. It's very simple.
That's really kind of you to share too. So it was Alibaba.com, guys. So you find the manufacturers, you can work with them to send the logo branded and get it done.
Yeah. Because these products are already made. Like they just have to put your logo on top of it. So there's not a lot of design.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And this is outside of your actual product line. It's just kind of like an extra bonus that you give with the.
Yeah, sometimes like even like I did, like when I did the pre-orders, everybody who pre-ordered, I gave them a gift, which was like a cap, like a really cute cap with my logo.
Awesome.
So that one too I did on Alibaba because they just put the logo on top of it.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. That's, I'm sure, really helpful for our audience. We got one more, and this one is, do you think your formal traditional education helped the way you run your business, or do you feel like you wanted those years and should have spent them on the business instead? Ooh, that's a really good question. I like that.
Yeah, good question. Honestly, I would say yes, it helped. Not directly through psychology. There is a bit of psychology of selling. Like I understand it very well, but I say what I really got from my education is the learning mindset, like the growth mindset. I can always learn something I don't know. The discipline to wake up, to go to class, even if you don't like it. The analytic mind, like in psychology or anywhere in university, you always have to do essays and analyze. Like all of these, like help you develop these neuron pathways, like to strengthen your analytical mind, so you can think, you can be critical. You don't just accept other people's opinions just because or whatever you read. So I think it helped me in that way. And also during my university years, I was extremely involved in my MSA. I was like part of it, meetings. So I was very active in charity work. So Actually, before university, I was actually a very shy girl. Like I wouldn't do speeches, but subhanAllah, in university, because I was like a leader of the community there, I forced myself and I learned public speaking, and gave halaqas, and even like in front of a huge audience, and it really boosted my confidence and my ability to express myself in front of a big audience. We also did a lot of projects like charity work. We did like what's it called, Islamic Awareness Week, so we had to organize it. So I learned a lot of organizing skills and meetings, like how to run a meeting. Like I learned so much through my extracurricular activities of university. So I think it's these skills that you learn through any field that you go, that you study, that are going to help you in entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is like, you need so many skills.
Right.
So I think that's how, like, not directly from the knowledge of the books that I read, like in psychology, but mostly through the skills I earned.
That's amazing, mashallah. And it's an interesting perspective in that it helped nurture your character and build up abilities that you now, can leverage in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. If you could rewind, would you still do the same path, or would you start your business earlier?
I would start my business earlier, obviously.
Yeah. Really? Okay. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, like basically, like my path, like through psychology and all that, like had led me to find myself in business. But if I already found myself in business before, then yes, obviously, because I would have gained more experience.
Yeah. Shout out to all my dropouts out there. I'm the first one.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm a college dropout, so now I'm offended. So I'm kidding.
Like I'm saying, like it actually, like if you don't know, let's say right now you don't know what you want to do, and like you want to pursue a certain like degree, like go ahead, like, because you're gonna learn, I'm telling you, other skills like that you might, that you would need in your entrepreneurship journey. So, but yeah, starting early is very good in business, because you're gonna learn so much, and there's so much to learn. Like I'm always, like I said, always learning. So, yeah.
Awesome, alhamdulillah. So, I mean, it's a good way to see it. For me, it was like, I knew at the beginning, I'm like, business is what I want to do. I had already started, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just kind of do this full time. But I also agree that I think unless you really have a solid plan and you know what it is you're doing, then you should just keep, going on that path until it's very clear that the other one is your life's calling, and it's really what you want to do and what you're passionate about and what you're okay doing for the rest of your life, because it's a big decision ultimately, right?
Yeah. I want to add something to that, actually. I don't want you to just like, okay, do university work, but then wait for the ideas to come, wait for this spark to come. No, don't do that. It's not going to work. You have to actively pursuing that. You have to sit down. Me, I filled out so many notebooks. Like I would sit down and I'm like, what's my purpose in life? And really, like I just write whatever comes to my brain, and like I would speak to Allah, make dua, guide me. Like I tried doing the thing with my mom. Like I had to dabble into many things. Like I worked at the hospital all day. Like I needed to dabble into many things to be able to find myself. So be active in pursuing, in trying to find your calling. Don't just sit and do nothing.
Right, 100%. I agree, and I think even if you are going down that path, I mean, because it's a good clarification to make, because a lot of people always, see it as it's all or nothing. As in, I'm either doing business or I'm doing my job, or I'm either doing business or I'm pursuing my studies. But, if you're not serious enough to use your free time already to work on these ideas, to, brainstorm, to develop certain ideas, to start working on your business, then chances are it's not free time that you need. It's discipline and perseverance, or maybe you're just not passionate enough and it's just something that you think you want, right? Yeah. So I agree. I think if you can't leverage your current situation, then do that first before you take the leap. 100%. So honestly, Khaoula, this was an amazing episode. We had awesome questions from the audience, and you've shared so much value that I'm sure anyone that, is an entrepreneur or is aspiring to be one, or is maybe even thinking of starting a product line, can benefit from. How can people connect with you, connect with Dignitii, support you guys, buy your products, be part of the movement?
Yes, so so our website is dignitii.com, Dignitii.com. And my social media handles are at Dignitii, same thing, Dignitii. I also recently opened my own personal account where I'm going to be speaking about self-development because it's something that I love.
Awesome.
So you can follow me on there too. So it's my name, Khaoula, Khaoula. Is it right away? I forgot my handle. ABT right
We'll
away.
drop it in the comments though, because we always share all the links in the comments. So guys, don't worry about it. Find it in the description of wherever platform you're looking at, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, etc. We'll make sure to have it in the comments for you.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
I'm starting my YouTube. Like I'm actually doing it.
Awesome. I want to quick little tidbit. I want to ask you about that. We're starting to be on YouTube as well. What is the approach that you're taking? Are you going to be releasing videos in regards to Dignitii, in regards to yourself as an entrepreneur? What's the plans? What can people expect from your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I think with the general advice that I heard from when you start a YouTube, you need to give a lot of value so people can just come, because usually people will just like search something and then they want to get the value and leave. So as a kind of a newbie YouTuber, I'm going to do a lot of value-based videos like how-tos and working on your mindset, working on discipline. I already have a video about productivity I did like a few months ago just to try it out. So yeah, a lot of self-development. So I'm going to tackle spiritual, mental, and physical. And as I go along, I'm going to be vlogging like my experience of entrepreneurship, like, and how I'm building Dignitii. So yeah.
Awesome. Where can people, what's the channel called? How can people find you?
It's the same. My name, yeah, so Khaoula Abtouche.
Okay, Khaoula Abtouche, guys. We'll drop it in the comments, inshallah, and we'll share the link to Dignitii. Make sure to support them. Make sure that if you are someone or know someone who is a Muslim sister, or even just someone who wants to dress more modestly and work out, that you refer them to Dignitii. Their work is amazing. Their product is amazing. And the quality is amazing. And this is the founder that you've just met now on this podcast. Khaoula, thank you so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, I really enjoyed our talk.
Alhamdulillah, me as well, and I'm sure the audience as well. And guys, as always, make sure to subscribe to our podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere, make sure to subscribe, follow us. And if you haven't already, join our group. It'll also be in the comments. We'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.